Hello, today is the 7th of April, 2023. We always do our disclaimer, go over our calls, make some predictions, and because it's the weekend, we take a look at the longer term picture. This is my trading plan for Monday, which would be April the 10th, 2023. Please remember my calls can be wrong and all trades should be at your own risk. Thursday, we look for the pattern with the early high. It tends to be a rally day with a high in the final hour. We got that. We thought Wednesday's action was a positive one. And unless we gapped and promptly took out this low, we thought we should trade higher, even if we didn't close higher. Well, we gapped down, took out this low, so that kills the call before the open, and there wasn't any call. When there's no call, it doesn't mean we're not going to have the standard rally. It just means I'm not making a call. No call means no call. Here's what we said, and these are the patterns for which I'm looking next week. Monday should have the early low. During the day, MEJT marked all these moves as false moves, said they wouldn't stick, and they've already retraced. This is a pattern which usually closes near its high. In fact, it didn't close near its high, and with under 5 minutes left to trade, we were actually under all these highs, and that's a negative pattern. Now, time doesn't run out until Monday's open, and if you gap and promptly take out this high, all that negativity goes away, and futures are making it plausible that that's going to happen. Futures are up about 975, but just because futures are up now, it's no guarantee we're going to gap up there on Monday. Well, here's resistance. Here's the first test of resistance. Here's resistance tested again. If we're going to drop without interruption, it's unlikely we're going to retest resistance again. That's just not what usually happens. Usually when you retest resistance, you break through it. But usually and always aren't the same thing. And if we move down smartly at the open, in spite of what futures are doing, I can explain it. We still think this high is going to hold. Let's take a look at the longer term picture. The idea is we've completed a major ABC, which took over 20 years to form, and after this consolidation we're in completes, we're going to trade higher. But if the consolidation were completed, I would expect this to be a 5-wave structure, which it's not. I think that while we might have seen the price low of this wave green C, I don't think we've seen the wave low, and that means we have to make an ABC of smaller degree here. And if that undercuts this slightly, it doesn't change anything, but I think that's going to hold. Well, there are any number of different ways to count this, but no matter how you count this, this is an overlapping structure. It's not a 5-wave structure. And overlapping structures correct at some point. So just as this overlapping structure should correct at some point and take us higher, this overlapping structure should take us lower at some point, should retrace. And there's a reasonable target just around 35.17 cash. But that doesn't mean we have to go there now, and doesn't mean we have some more fooling around first. There's a count which suggests that we hit a high this week. It isn't going to be confirmed until some of these lows fall, but I'm going to stick with it for now. Let's take a look at this last wave. Still possible to count this as an ABC. We still topped right at the high of the channel. Doesn't mean it's the only count. Let's take a look here. The last wave in the 30-minute chart. You can count it as an ABC. You can count this down as an ABC with good fibs for A. You're making B. At some point, I'm thinking wave B is going to complete, and we're going to have wave C down. Now, Monday's pattern has the early low. We could still gap up. I'm reluctant to make a prediction before the regular trading hours response to a major economic report, such as today's jobs report, is known. And that's true even when the report's out and futures rallied in response to it. Just because they rallied in response doesn't mean we're going to open higher. Doesn't mean we won't, but it's no guarantee. My accuracy just isn't as good in such a situation. Now, that being said, the failure of Thursday's normally bullish day to close near its high is negative and should lead to lower prices unless we gap and promptly take out Thursday's high, and that's what futures are implying is going to happen. We retested resistance at today's high, and that's just not what one would expect if we were to continue dropping without interruption. Retesting resistance once is fine. Retesting it twice doesn't happen if you're not going to go higher, even if the higher move won't stick. But that's not a guarantee. Keep a list of stocks with chart patterns I consider favorable, and even though we rallied yesterday, that list shrank considerably. And if the drop were complete, that's not what I would expect. Accordingly, if we gap up Monday, which I think is likely, if we gap up, I think there's a good chance the move up reverses. The conditions responsible with this week being a top are still present. So less accuracy when these reports come out, but there's a good chance we gap up, hold this high, and then reverse. But again, I'm not risking any money on it until I see what happens in regular trading hours. You don't have to bet on every horse. And when these reports come out, it's just harder for me to maintain the level of accuracy I need to risk any money. So it's the pattern with the early low. Doesn't mean you won't gap up. If we gap up, good chance this holds may reverse. And that's today's call. I'm going to say one more thing. Every so often I get people making posts on my channel saying how they follow some other advisor and they make unbelievably huge amounts of money. I delete these posts as soon as I can. It's a complete fraud. And if you come across one of those posts, don't risk your money on these people. If there's nobody I know who can make the kinds of returns these people claim. And if they were making that kind of return, I would have heard of him. I've been doing this for a long time. And if I've never heard of the guy and he's that good, it's a lie. So that's today's call.